I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. Today we're going to make one of my very favorite desserts. I've chosen this dessert today not only because it's incredibly delicious, but because it's served cold. So it's a great thing to have during the summer. Today we're going to make creme brulee. After that, if you want to hang around, we're going to talk about Jimi Hendrix. So let's get started. Creme brulee is just one of those desserts I'm always going to order if I see it on a nice restaurant's menu. I love it. A lot of people love it, which is why it's ironic that a lot of people don't make it at home because it's actually very, very easy. I'm preheating my oven to 300 degrees. Y'all always see this tea kettle on my stove. Today we're going to use it. I'm going to start heating up a kettle full of water. In a saucepan over medium heat, I'm going to combine 1 cup heavy cream with 2 tablespoons sugar. I'm going to cook this over my medium heat for maybe 5 minutes. I'm just watching for some bubbles to start forming around the outside of the pan. We'll stir that occasionally. While our cream mixture is warming, I'm going to place 2 egg yolks in my mixing bowl. Next, I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon vanilla extract. You want to blend those egg yolks and vanilla until they're smooth and light. We're getting a little bubbling from our cream mixture now, so we're going to remove that from the heat. Next, we're going to start the process of slowly adding our hot cream mixture to our egg and vanilla mixture, just a little bit at a time. We want to keep that going until it's very well blended. I've got kind of an assortment of ramekins here. I wish that I had 4 of this size, but I can't seem to find 2 of them. As you can see, these are pretty thin, so I'm going to really need to exercise caution when we start the water bath. Next, I'm going to pour my mixture into my ramekins. I'm going to funnel it through this little strainer to make sure there's no lumps. This is supposed to make 4 4-ounce servings, but I think because this little fancy schmancy is a little bit big, I only got 3, and that's okay. Now, we're going to give these ramekins a bath. That hot water that we heated, we're going to start pouring in very, very carefully. We don't want to get any of this water in our custard. We just want to come maybe halfway up the side of the ramekins. Since I have one that's shorter than the other, that's the one I'm going to have to really watch, because when this gets in the oven, I don't want water bubbling up and going into my custard. We're going to loosely cover this dish with some aluminum foil. We're going to be extremely careful transporting this to the oven. Number 1, we don't want any hot water in our custard. Number 2, we don't want to burn ourselves. We need to keep this in our oven until the custard has set. I'm going to set a timer for 25 minutes. My timer's gone off, and we want to remove this even more carefully than we put it in. By now, the dish is super hot, the water's still in there, and now it's boiling, and everything about this says slow and steady. I'm gonna leave my custard here on the counter and let it cool down just a little bit for maybe about 20 minutes. After that, I'm gonna transfer it to the fridge where it's gonna need to stay for probably about 3 hours. Again, we want this dish to be cold. While we're waiting on that, now would be a great time to go down and hit the like button for me. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate if you would consider subscribing to my channel. As you can see, they're set up nice. They're nice and cold. Now we get to do the fun part. We're going to use this imperial sugar. This is ultra fine granulated sugar. So I'm going to take some of that fine imperial sugar and lightly dust it on the top of each one of my custards. I've got a little small kitchen torch here. I'm going to set it on kind of a low setting. I don't want to go crazy here. So we're just going to do some little circular motions until the sugar begins to caramelize. Y'all, this part smells so good. Look how pretty that is, y'all. You want to serve this while your custard is cold, but immediately after you caramelize that sugar. A little crispy crunch on top. Lord have mercy. Look at that. Creamy cold custard with a warm caramelized sugar on top. No words. Creme brulee. The perfect cold summertime dessert. Easy to make, but it does take a while. So just give yourself plenty of time. Make your custards the day before. Let them sit in the fridge overnight, and then caramelize the sugar right before you're going to serve them. Delicious. I hope you have a great week ahead. Stay tuned if you want to hear my thoughts on Jimi Hendrix. Don't forget to tune in Thursday. And in the meantime, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming. Jimi Hendrix. Arguably the greatest guitar player of all time. Absolutely a life cut too short. In fact, Jimi Hendrix is part of the infamous 27 Club, meaning he died at age 27 like a lot of other brilliant artists. By the way, go check out the 27 Club Facebook page. My new friends over there allowed me to use this photo, and they've got a pretty interesting page. My Jimi Hendrix story is that a lot of you may know I have a sister who's 12 years older than me. So when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, I was surrounded by some of the coolest vinyl albums ever made. My sister had them all. So I was exposed to all of this stuff at a super young age. I can vividly remember my sister having the album Are You Experienced? This blew my little mind away. The colors, the font, the angle in which the album cover was shot. Are you experienced? I really didn't even know what in the hell that meant, but I knew that I wanted to be, at least one day. I do have one cool artifact related to Jimi Hendrix. Several years ago, the photographer Jim Marshall was selling off some of his works, and I was able to obtain a photograph of Jimi Hendrix from the Monterey Pop Festival. This is a very famous photograph, but the cool thing about this is it's not a print. It's an actual photograph that was made from the original negative. And it's signed by Jim Marshall on the photograph itself as well as the mat. So that's something pretty cool. That's a tough one, but it's not. Even though there's a million great ones, my absolute favorite is Sweet Angel, the original cut. Love that song. What's your favorite Jimi Hendrix song, or do you have a cool Jimi Hendrix story? I'd love to hear about it down in the comments. Thanks for listening. Keep jamming.